Once upon a time, in a city, there sat a man on the sidewalk. He was invisible to most because his clothes were tattered, his face worn with lines of hardship, and a small tin cup in front of him held only a few coins. Guess who it was? It was the beggar. Every day, the beggar faced rejection. People walked past without a glance or muttered excuses as they avoided eye contact. Some gave him a coin out of pity, but most simply ignored him. Each night he curled up in a small corner by an alley, cold and hungry, wondering if life would ever get better. The beggar's life hadn't always been this way. Once he had a steady job and a modest apartment, but a series of misfortunes, a company layoff, medical bills, and losing his home, had brought him here. The weight of his circumstances made him feel hopeless. He believed he was stuck, destined to live a life of misery. One day he was sitting near the road of an airport. He saw a very wealthy man. The man came to the beggar to give the beggar some money. The beggar, instead of taking the money, asked the rich man a question. "How did you do that?" The rich man told, "You are more than your situation. The power to change your life is within you." And the rich man left. At first, the beggar brushed it off. How could a kind word fix years of struggle? But as the night went on, the words echoed in his mind. The power to change your life is within you. He realized that while he couldn't control the past, he could control how he viewed the future. The next morning, the beggar made a decision. Instead of focusing on what he didn't have, he would focus on what he could achieve. He told himself, "I am capable of more." He began to pay attention to the people around him, noticing their conversations, their energy, and the opportunities in the city. He started asking himself questions. What skills do I have? What can I offer? What small steps can I take today? At first, the only answers he got were nothing. But the beggar didn't give up. He started by setting a goal. He wanted to find work, no matter how small. With a clear purpose in mind, he approached each day with determination. The beggar faced countless no's at first. He walked into restaurants, stores, and construction sites asking for work. Some people turned him away rudely, while others offered polite refusals. Each rejection stung, but the beggar reminded himself that every no brought him closer to a yes. One day, after dozens of failed attempts, a small diner agreed to let him wash dishes. It wasn't much, but it was a start. With the money he earned, the beggar bought clean clothes from a thrift store and used the diner's bathroom to freshen up. He realized that change wouldn't happen overnight, but with every small step, he felt closer to a brighter future. At the diner, the beggar worked tirelessly. He arrived early and stayed late, always willing to go the extra mile. His co-workers noticed his determination and kindness. One of them, an older cook named Maria, took a liking to the beggar. Maria shared her own story of struggle and how she had built her life from scratch. "Life will always test you," she told the beggar, "but it's your mindset that determines whether you rise or fall." Inspired by her words, the beggar decided to learn new skills. Maria taught him basic cooking techniques, and the beggar practiced every chance he got. He also visited the local library to read books about business, personal growth, and resilience. Slowly, the beggar's confidence grew. He began to dream bigger, envisioning a life beyond dishwashing. One day, a regular customer at the diner overheard Maria praising the beggar's work ethic. The customer owned a small catering business and needed extra help for an upcoming event. Intrigued, she offered the beggar a temporary job. This opportunity was a turning point. At the catering event, the beggar impressed everyone with his dedication and willingness to learn. The customer saw potential in him and offered him a permanent position. Now earning a better income, the beggar moved out of the streets and into a small rented room. For the first time in years, he had a place to call home. With his basic needs met, the beggar focused on personal growth. He continued learning new skills, including baking and event planning. Over time, he began to dream of owning his own business. His journey wasn't without challenges. There were moments of doubt, setbacks, and financial strain. But the beggar had learned to view challenges as opportunities to grow. He expanded his team, hired staff, and even rented a small commercial kitchen. The man who had once sat invisible on the streets was now a respected entrepreneur in his community. As the beggar's success grew, people became curious about his journey. "How did you do that?" people asked. The beggar always gave the same answer. "It started with my mindset. I stopped seeing myself as a victim and started believing in my ability to create a better future. You can't control everything that happens to you," he would say, "but you can control how you respond to it." The beggar never forgot where he came from. As his business flourished, he made it a priority to give back to the community. He partnered with local shelters, providing meals and job training for those in need. "Everyone deserves a second chance," the beggar often said. "Sometimes, all it takes is someone believing in you."